What up, what up, what up? This is Mike the Philosopher. Yes, they call me Philosopher because I philosophize. I'm not to be dismissed or idolized. Yeah, I got bars. Anyway, this is a ranking for Kevin Samuels. Okay, we're going to continue the legacy by uh, doing some of his rankings with some of his contestants. Check this out.
How are you?
Kevin.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I just want to say that I do love your show and I respect it.
How old are you?
I'll be 30 in July, so I'm 29.
So you heard the starting part. A lot of women today almost seem like they want to be paid to be women. What do you think about that?
It's kind of true. It's true.
It's true. Easy, lazy money. I mean, you don't really have to work for it. You just have to be born a woman and you can get paid for it. Now, I'm not knocking the hustle. Let's be clear. If there are Johns or simps out there who want to pay women for being women, then you deserve everything that you pay for. I mean, if I could just be paid to be a man, I would do it. I'm not knocking the women, but let's be clear, it is easy and lazy money. And however you get it, get it. It doesn't matter. But that is becoming a trend, and it's becoming easier and easier for women to monetize, especially their looks, because there are a lot of simps out there. I mean, look, I didn't invent IG and like Instagram and fan OnlyFans and stuff like that. But these women were able to monetize it. Good for them. But with that comes some entitlements. They feel like that's all they need. Well, as long as they got the bag, who cares about everything else, including men in a lot of cases, which is the messed up part of the game. Let's go in.
Okay.
I can admit we might have the wrong mindset overall with relationships.
Okay. Where'd it come from?
I guess Disney fairy tales, um, our parents, aunts.
Are you single?
I am. I just got out of the situation actually. And I don't know if it's something that you talked about on your show before, but I think it's something that would be good for your show.
Okay. With your last situation?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to it, but I don't know any Disney story where a man had to pay for a woman to be a
I mean,
woman.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It ain't no Disney stories. Like I get where she coming from. That the romanticization of relationships, but that's not the time we in right now. We in the Megan Thee Stallion and the Cardi B era now. I don't cook, I don't clean. Okay, and I just get that money, get that bag, boss B, this, that, and the third. I mean, it is a trend. It's a trend that's going on out there, and that's the era. For it to be Disney, you would have to want your Prince Charming. But nowadays, especially in the West, women don't really care about a man like that. And this is, I know a lot of people don't like when I generalize, but this is probably the majority. This is not a minority. Okay, there are a lot of women who really don't care for the traditional family. They probably want some kids because they want to replicate themselves in a way. And, but as far as having a man under the roof, nah, they'll bypass that. There are some women who out there who just want kids and don't want not just a husband, but a man in the house or the man to even be a part of the kid's life. I mean, but I think that's what Kevin is going with. This ain't that Disney era no more. Let's go back in.
not exactly pay for her, but the princess and just that type of thing.
Okay. The Disney. No, I don't. I don't. I'm trying to
No?
understand. Like, where is it that a princess? But anyway, what's the story you had?
Okay, so I'm just wondering, in your opinion, how do you feel? about women who have been in the industry in general. I know you respect the hustle.
Say again.
Your phone's going slow. Women who have been in the industry, like the
Yeah.
nightlife.
Let me put this headphone in because something's going with the audio. And somebody answer your question again.
How do you feel about women who have been in the nightlife?
Women working in the nightlife.
Yes, and then finding a real, authentic relationship.
Depends on what you mean by nightlife. You mean like dancing or something like that?
Dancing, bartending.
Or prostitution. Okay. Dancing, bartending, prostitution. Well, that's a lot. Let's see what Kev say.
Being an entrepreneur on top of that.
No.
You know what? It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, those are three different things.
Mm-hmm.
Being a dancer.
Those are three different things, and the thing is, none of them will really warrant a healthy relationship. They like, or at least a traditional relationship. Being a dancer, nah. Being a bartender, nah, because you got guys coming up to you all the time. Being an entrepreneur, could be, but a lot of times a certain type of mentality comes with a woman who's an entrepreneur, and a lot of times it's not favorable to the family unit. It's just not. A lot of sometimes, I would even say most times, women would choose their, especially if they're an entrepreneur and they worked hard to get to where they are, they'll choose that over a family any day. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments. Can you name some women who gave up their entire enterprise for their husband and their child? I'd like to hear that information. Let's go in.
I don't know many women who walk away psychologically balanced, looking at men in a healthy way from dancing.
Because we expect to be taken
Because it's a
care of, kind of like
game.
the
Well,
same
I
thing.
mean, it's like being a bartender. You see people at their worst.
See people at their worst, and you used to using men. You used to playing with their minds. If you're a dancer, you're selling a fantasy. Okay, this is not my opinion. This is just a fact. You're selling fantasy, right? So if you're selling fantasy, you're used to playing manipulative games with men's mind, and it's not your fault. There is a demand for it. You wouldn't do it if men didn't come. So there is no victim in this exchange, but at the same time, it's hard to turn that off. If you've been doing that for so long and you're used to picking up on psychological clues from a man and manipulating and selling the fantasy, then you're going to continue to do that. That's why he said he don't know a lot of women who are psychologically balanced that come out of that life, because it's a manipulative lifestyle. It's a manipulator's lifestyle. Let's go in.
And so, I mean, can it happen? Sure. Is it likely? Not really. Not healthy, because where the men that are going there are going for what reason?
To be entertained.
So
Something that they're not getting at home.
well,
Correct.
whatever it is, it's kind of hard to undo what you. If we see you out making money dancing, that's going to always be. It's going to be in a guy's mind. So now bartending, depending upon where you're tending bar, but that's still, that's not like dancing. But when you say entrepreneur, what does that mean?
E-commerce business, e-commerce sales.
All right, e-commerce. I don't have no problem with that. To be honest, I don't have no problem with that. If you're an entrepreneur as a woman, I think you can be a e-commerce wife. You can still work from home. You can still take care of the kids, take care of your man. Let me exchange that. Take care of your man, then take care of your kids, and then take care of your business in that order. Your man, your kids, your business. That's how it should go. Because everything starts with the husband or yeah, the husband. Let's just say that, and then the kids get taken care of. Okay, your man, he gets the big piece of chicken. The kids, they get their food, they get their mouth wiped and all that other stuff. Then you go and you take care of the e-commerce business. I see it. I see it being possible. I think you can do it. I'm not sure what Kevin gonna say, but it's Mike the philosopher approved. Let's go in.
See, the issue I have with all this kind of stuff is it's so hard to understand what it is. Um,
A small business online of selling products.
Selling products, probably sex products, probably, you know, adult toys. Nothing wrong with that. A dollar is a dollar, and she ain't, but that's just an assumption, and that's just where my head going. Her being in that adult genre already, and bartending, dancing, I'm thinking that's her genre when it comes to the e-commerce. I could very well be wrong, but if she did do that, I not only would not be surprised, but I wouldn't be mad at it. All right, let's go in.
you could be flipping stuff on eBay or Amazon. That's
Having
fine.
your own. Okay.
Okay, but is it something that you know as long as it's legal? But is it something you plan on doing uh, for the rest of your life, or is it just something you're doing now?
Are you talking about the e-commerce business
Yeah,
or?
yeah, yeah. Because we talked
Yeah.
about dancing, we talked about bartending and stripping. Those are hustles,
Right.
short-term hustles. But selling something online, even if you're just drop shipping or whatever, but are we talking about building a real business or are we talking about a hustle?
No, building a real business, having a private label, having actual products, not just drop shipping.
Okay. Well,
And being a small business, but I think you said before, if your business cannot benefit the man, it's not as important. I mean, those
well,
weren't your exact words, but you get what I mean.
that's the broad. Also depends on what you're doing. I mean, if a man wants a wife and kids, what comes first? How can what would something if you can't do it all? What gives?
Right, good
What
question.
gives? It's
Mhm. You got a husband. If you're married and you got kids, how you gonna do all that in the business?
You're right. It would be hard to juggle, but it happens.
Does it?
I think so. I've seen successful women entrepreneurs, but
Black women?
okay, I've seen a lot of successful women, black entrepreneurs, but majority of the time they are single.
What do you get from?
Exactly. So guess what gave? Like I said before, um, a lot of times women will choose that career or that hustle over a family, over a man any day. And like she's saying, most of them were single. And if you ask them, they're probably happy. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not even knocking that. But for what she's looking for the man with it. Those other chicks, maybe not. But she's looking for the family with it. So we have to take into consideration how she can get what she wants out of this situation.
That knowledge right there.
Um, it's hard to balance
There is
that
no
type of
balance.
lifestyle.
There is no balance.
Okay.
Because when you get an entrepreneur, you're generally getting boss bitch energy.
Facts.
But what if you don't give off that energy?
Rarely doesn't happen because the main reason you're doing it is so that you can have that energy, so you can have that confidence in yourself. So when you achieve it and you consider yourself successful, it's going to permeate. It's going to you really can't escape it. I you know it's hard to find someone who is super successful and super humble, especially when it comes to a black woman, when it comes to her man, especially if her man is not making more than her. That energy is going to permeate, even if she make less than him, it's still going to permeate, and it's still going to radiate out. That energy is contagious because it's like a drug. It's like a drug, and oftentimes that's why they're doing it, so that they can get ultimate, um, I guess you could say, confidence in themselves, or ultimate boss B energy. It's addictive. It's like being a celebrity. It's like being a celebrity. You can't just you don't want to turn that off. You want to reap the benefits of what got you there. You want to reap those benefits, and your confidence is one of those things. Let's go in.
Blind squirrel will find a nut. Somebody got to win the lotto, but I don't deal in what ifs. I deal in what is.
Okay.
Do you want to be the provider, or do you want your husband to be the provider?
I would want my husband to be the provider. I don't want to pay significant bills.
Okay, so again, it's one thing to have to take care of yourself, but it's another thing to still be trying to be a mother, a wife, and a business owner. You cannot have it all. You got to give something up.
Okay.
You either give up the husband. Generally, to give up the husband is what you give up.
Facts.
As a black woman, that's
Yeah.
only what we
Yeah.
give
Yeah,
up.
because that's what you choose.
So if, as a black woman, that's not something that I would want to give up, do you suggest that I just stop my business and just search for that
Well, no,
provider male,
that's a
the
different question.
husband?
That's a different question. All right. Why? Before I answer that, why can non-black women seem to balance being wives and running businesses like you're talking about, and being mothers, and not have to give up one or the other?
Because their business or their career is not tied to their self-esteem. You got to keep in mind that in the black community, the men and the women, oftentimes wealth is not handed down to us. So we're first timers in a lot of stuff. First time going to college, first time getting a degree, first time being a manager, or first time in a Fortune 500, first time being a millionaire, first time on a house. There's a lot of firsts in the black community. So oftentimes when we hit a pinnacle, it inflates our ego out of the gate. And both men and women, it does this, just in the black community in general. The only problem with it is that when it happens to the women, it has the mechanism of, I want to say, destroying the family. Because when it happens to a man, he may have all of that energy, but it's not going to destroy his family. But when it happens to women, it sort of does, because oftentimes she don't want to be partnered with a man after that. She take on the superhero, I don't need a man, I can do bad all by myself mentality. And it's not her fault. Listen, this is what I said. If y'all haven't heard me say anything before, listen to this. I do not blame anybody for the conditions of which we are in. Let me say that again. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the men. I definitely don't blame the women. All that happens to us is is we are a product of everything that happens and is allowed in this country. Anytime I want to place blame on behaviors, I look at the country as a whole, and not just the United States. Whatever the culture is, it's a product of the country. Whatever the culture is, it's a product of the country and the powers that be in their system. So if women want to be bosses and entrepreneurial and not really care much for family, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at the women. I'm not mad at women for anything that they do. I think that common sense could be used, but if they can get away with it, I learned a long time ago. If you can get away with something, you're going to do it. If you know that you can get away with anything, you're going to do it. If you think that you can get away with killing somebody, you're probably going to do it. If you think you can get away with robbing a bank, you're probably going to do it. So that's why love my sisters, love women in general, but my sisters got a special place in my heart. I don't blame them for anything. Don't blame them for anything. I don't blame the men for anything. All that is happening to us is a product of what the country will allow. We are in a system. And if the system allows certain behaviors, like trapping men with babies, or, whatever, other things that maybe men can get away with. Whatever those things are, I blame the system. Never blame the people. But let's go back in.
I think maybe so more white and non-black women were brought up to be that way.
Let's just go. If we go with that, how do you change that energy? Because here's the thing. Before I don't want to get too far down that path because that'll take us off target. Okay. Are you a wife is the question. See, a lot of women ask about, later on, but the big question is, do you want to be a part of your husband's team or do you want a partner?
I want to be part of my husband's team.
All right.
So that's good. She's giving some good answers. I'm liking her mentality so far. I'm liking her look too. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Chilli from TLC, just in the way the eyes are shaped and stuff. I don't know if that's her real hair, but I'm getting a little Chilli from TLC. Let's go in.
I feel like I'm a better asset by being a team player than me being the lead myself.
All right. How old do you say you are again?
I'll be 30 in July.
All right. Have you always wanted to be married?
No.
When did this happen?
Probably when I started watching you.
And that's the problem. And this is the problem because so many of our women start to recognize later in life, close around 30, that this isn't the real play. So it's not as though the men are looking for anything different. It's like you have to be what those guys are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to have a job right now because you got to be able to take care of yourself. And most women want to be able to have a man who can provide, but men who can provide come with rules.
They do, and a lot of men who provide step outside of the marriage as well.
So,
and that's okay, right? I'm just asking.
I'm asking you, can you handle it? Here's a question: can you handle it if they do?
Yes.
All righty. ding, ding, ding. I think we got a winner here. I think she's ready to be drafted. She's high in the drafting ranks here. And I'm not saying that I condone that. I'm just saying, you know, other than some form of physical or whatever abuse, I think people should stay married. Other than abuse, be it mental, physical, or sexual, whatever, people should find a way to make it work. I would also add substances like drugs, alcoholism, stuff like that. Those are hard to really rock with, and I get that. But something like cheating, something like, or as Kevin would say, exercising options is not cheating, is exercising options, especially if it's a high value man. I know women will have a problem with that, but this is his terminology, not mine. But I think those should be able to be worked on, or could be worked on. Financial woes, can be temporary. You can work on that. You can work on that together. Other than abuses or abuse of drugs or alcohol or something like that, something of abuse, I think those are deal breakers. Everything else should be workable. Just my opinion. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments. Let me know I'm wrong about that. But in my opinion, those are the main deal breakers in my opinion. But let's go back in. And like I said, so far she's looking like she's going high up on a drafting board to be drafted. Let's go in. Well, not I know she was probably a stripper. I don't know if she was a prostitute or not. She's not at the top, okay? But she's steadily climbing, but she ain't at the top. Let me just put it that way. Let's go in.
There's a reason. I know a lot of women don't like that, but a lot of women today want it all. I'm like the cleanup Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. I mean, grandmama, granddaddy.
And let me also say this. I know I know I keep stopping, and I apologize for that. But I just want to say this while I'm thinking about it, is that I got to keep something in mind, okay? And that is, if she was in a nightlife, if she was a dancer, if she was a bartender or stripper or maybe even prostitute, I got to keep in mind that she is a master at manipulation. So all of this that she's saying right now could be cap up until she gets into that marriage with that guy, and then she'll flip it on you. That's what I'll be worried about with her. She'll put sugar in your ear. She'll tell you everything she feel like you want to hear. Will that be a problem with him stepping out? No. But until it is a problem, then she'll take you to court, and then of course the courts will side with her, and then it's you wiped out, you wiped clean. So now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I could trust everything that she's saying, because it was her job to be manipulative. Why would I think that would stop right now? I'm just saying. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments.
I don't know. I feel a empathy from women today, because you've been told you could have it all,
Yeah.
and you can't.
Okay.
And it's about choices and trade-offs. What is more important? Do you want a man who doesn't step out? Because I'm not saying every guy will, But I'm saying if he does and you don't find out about it, what difference does it make?
It doesn't make a difference.
So why go look for the problem? That's my point.
But being in the nightlife a little bit, I think you're more open-minded to those type of things because you see more. So I think my mindset might be different from the average woman.
Average what woman?
Average.
I think a lot
modern,
of black women want.
I'm gonna say modern.
I think a lot of sisters want. I think a lot of sisters have a fantasy view of marriage because I don't. You want alpha male providers, alpha male looks, alpha male height, all this alpha. Then you want strict loyalty and monogamy, and like that doesn't exist, not in mass. So it's about choices and trade-offs. Mm-hmm. And at 30 years old, I would say, do you want children?
I have one child.
How old?
She's 5.
You got to be able to answer that question too. Because guys are always going to ask, why didn't you marry the child's father?
Right.
And women don't like when I say that you don't typically get higher than your baby daddy.
Mm. Okay.
Uh-oh.
And what would that put? Would that put you in? Is your ex a provider male?
I wouldn't say so. Not right now at this moment.
A pimp named Slickback is probably the baby daddy. I'm joking about that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
But he has been a provider male.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men look at
there's nothing wrong with him. He's a great guy. He's a great father. But
right.
People go through trials and tribulations. I'm gonna say that.
Of course. Life happens to everybody.
Yeah. And it's getting back up, and that's what's going on. But me personally, we just grew apart.
See, she kind of curving this guy. And what I mean by curving is she kind of doing gymnastics on Kevin right now. Because it seemed like she don't really want to talk much about what he does or who he is. She's kind of trying to dominate this part of the conversation because she don't want him to ask certain types of questions or hit on certain types of benchmarks to see what kind of guy this is. So oftentimes when people do that, men or women, they'll dominate that part of the conversation because there's a part of it they don't want to talk about. But let's go in.
You feel like marriage is not all about love. I know that as well.
Well, it's not.
It's not. So
it's not. I mean, we can say that shit when people live to be 40 years old. Okay, let's just take. Do you think it's about love?
No.
Did you?
You see that? Now she got Kevin all the way off the subject of the baby daddy. So it worked. It totally worked. Now Kevin is asking her a different question. Is it about love? Is marriage about love? Not even talking about the dude no more. That's what I mean by master manipulator. She moved him out of that area and into a different section. And now she got Kevin talking about something else. It worked. Gotta watch these people, man.
Too?
I did.
All right, what if we lived to be 300?
I did. I used to think it was a fairy tale.
Well, so is it just over between you and your child's father? Forever? Yeah. Irreconcilable?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
We're great friends. We get along. We're
see there.
I get it, but you gotta.
See, she dominating that conversation again. We're great friends. We get along fine. We just, if that's all, she don't really want to talk about this guy, and I think it's because Kevin told her you're as good as your baby daddy. But I don't think she really want to get into what kind of guy this dude is. You see what I'm saying? So every time Kevin go there, she started trying to dominate that part of the conversation. Let's go back in.
Look at the men who will come next. Russell Wilson and Sierra are in the news again. Why do they stay in the news so much?
Because Russell Wilson is completely opposite of Sierra's previous child's father.
They stay in the news so much for that because so many men look and say, why did a guy who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback go choose to become a baby daddy? I mean, a stepfather. And you wouldn't see Tom Brady doing that. And
Nope.
far too many guys today, especially black men, are starting to say we're not stepping up to be stepdaddies. That is not. Especially the kind of men especially the men who are in the top 20%, who can call some shots. So what does that leave women? Where does that leave a lot of women? If you're looking strictly for husbands, if men who are in the marrying category aren't looking to be stepfathers, what does that mean?
I didn't hear the last part because my phone rang.
If men who are in the husband category are not looking to be stepfathers, what does that leave women with children who want to be married?
Single or sidelined.
And that's an unfortunate reality. That's going to prohibit you more than anything else, the kid. And I'm not supposed to say it, but it's the truth. Especially when you start talking about a man who can make some choices. So ladies, I don't know. And why we're on this is because you ladies women in general have been told the opposite. And that's where all this confusion is coming in. Y'all aren't getting the result. So I'll ask you a question before you run. If you're not getting back to the child's father, how do you think you could make your asset how do you think you can make your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry?
How can I make my child an asset?
To the kind of man you would want to marry.
I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general. Put her in.
Well, you would have to discipline her and make her respect the man, even if it's a stepfather. And in this case, it will be because she ain't gonna get back with the baby daddy. So she would have to learn to respect the man of the house. And I would even say the man should have. Now, I would say a man should be able to discipline the kid, and he should be able to discipline. Men should be able to discipline any kid they put under their roof. Period. I don't care, biological, step, God. I don't care what kind of child it is. If they're under that man's roof, that man should have complete autonomy on discipline. Now, that being said, I had a stepdaughter. Never had to spank her. Never had to spank her once. And I was with her from 5 years old. So it's not that I couldn't. It's just that her mother handled it so well that I didn't have to, which was preferred. If the mother handles it so well that you don't have to handle it, then that's good. That makes it better for everybody. The child, the mother, the father, the stepfather that's there, and even the biological father. He don't have to worry about that. But the mother plays a key role in that, though. So that's what she would have to do, is to prepare her child to respect the man of the house. I mean, that's my answer. Let's see what they say.
Classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not, put in that time to make her a better person. Correct?
I'm asking. No, I'm asking because I'm asking.
Am I right?
The question is.
I don't know if Kevin asked that question right. He said make the child an asset. I don't. the child ain't gonna never be an asset. It's just how the situation is designed. It's not because they're going to be a liability, no matter how you look at it. Um, there's no way the child can be an asset. So maybe he asked that question a little incorrectly. Maybe he should have asked it a different type of way. But let's see if he cleans it up here.
Is how to make your child an asset to that man. That
Right.
makes her an okay person. But how can you adopt? And this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
I never thought about that.
I don't
Well,
think they can really.
and that's the
What
problem.
would you suggest? I'm just wondering because I'm
Um, I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one, is she well mannered, well behaved, smart, taken care of? Does she understand? And do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband? Is my husband going to come first? Or is it we're a package deal? If you're a package deal, that's no deal. I'll be honest, it's a package deal, that's no deal because let's say you and I were to get married, you got a daughter, right?
mm-hmm,
And let's say we have 2 kids together
mm-hmm.
and your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin touched you, looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship will have to.
Well, yeah, that's pretty rough. I'm not gonna get into that part of it, but y'all check this out. I'm gonna give her a ranking. Check this out. So let me start with the face. I'm a she had a pretty nice face actually. It looked like I said, it looked like Chili from TLC. So I decided to give her about a 7 on the face. All right, going to the body, I would say the body looked like the body has to be pretty nice, right? Because she was probably a dancer, probably a stripper, probably, so I'm thinking her body is probably banging. So I'm going to give it a 7.5. And let's go to the mentality. Now, she was earning high marks from me in mentality, but then I had to think that I'm wondering how much of this is cap. You know what I mean? Again, she's in a profession that uh, warrants her to be a bit manipulative. You know what I mean? So out of the gate, that's kind of a demerit because I gotta watch what I be believing from her. Now she'll tell you what you want to hear, but you gotta remember that's her profession, right? So she'll tell you everything you want to hear. I mean, so all that being said, I gave her mentality a 6.5 for a total of 21 points. Okay. There you have it from the Kevin Samuel archives. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. All right. Did I get something right? Did I get something wrong? Put it in the comments. Share this with your friends. Ask them what they think. I'll check y'all in the next one. Peace.